The reason why I'm creating this video is to help you to figure out who to vote for. So Andile from Blackland First, what he ended up saying, he said climate change is the West's fault and he blamed Western powers, not in a polite way. Yes, climate change is a real thing. I don't think you can blame the West for it in the past, but any government going forward, knowing the consequences of what climate change really is, such as the effects in Mozambique of what climate change could be, and they do nothing about it, those people and those governments will be remembered forever for inaction. My problem is people having unsustainable jobs. So what do you want? Do you want jobs for the sake of jobs, or do you want real jobs? Which leads me on to schooling. Schooling needs to be geared towards the 21st century, making sure that the environment is taken care of. After the third industrial revolution, we had coal power plants and things like that. Now we are going through the fourth industrial revolution, where we went from mechanization, we are going to automation. It is estimated by 2030, 800 million jobs will be completely automated. And in one third of jobs, 60% of jobs will go away. Is the government that you are wanting to vote in actually helping people with their education in their schools to pave the way for a society where we are technologically savvy and creating people for the future? At the moment, I can't say I'm so sure. So there's another thing that's also connected to technology is 5G. So 1G on a cell phone is the ability to make a call. 2G is the addition of sending a text message. 3D is having a limited internet on a phone. 4G is what we have at the moment. 5G is where there's massive data capture, which basically takes people's privacy and destroys it. The next thing is 180 scientists from 36 countries have petitioned the European Council due to the dangers of the radiation of what 5G could mean. And the companies that want to roll the 5G out, they want to do this before there's testing. So, education, environment, jobs, and we are not guinea pigs, proven track record to go forward. So, what I can say for sure is the reason why I can't vote for the EFF is because they are not a free party. They are like a religion. If you don't believe in them, there's no space for you in their religion. And the thing about a society in South Africa is there's many different religions, and as such, we can't listen to only one person's call for a revolution. Next is they want to expropriate land without compensation, which means that they'll take away one of the portions of our constitution which guarantees property rights. And if they do that, that means that people will own the land, and if you want to create a business on that land, you best be part of their religion. I cannot, and I do not believe that they are good, even though that there are certain things that they create awareness about, which actually is good. The ANC, I can't vote for them. They are too corrupt. It is built into their structure that they'll never eradicate corruption because it is rotten to the core. The problem I have with socialism is this. I like fairness. Now, I live in a house with 5 people. Let's say one person doesn't like washing the dishes, which is more than one person, and they don't do their job, someone's going to have to do it. You can't pick up the slack for other people when they are not doing it. But let's say you get sick, for example. It is nice to know that your needs are taken care of when you can't take care of yourself. And that is the system that supports you needs to be there to make sure the people who fall down have a means and a way of getting back up. But the next part, the reason why I can't handle socialism or pure socialism is because imagine you're about to write a test and you study very hard. And when you study very hard, you know that other people aren't studying very hard. And you write the test and you know that you're going to get 90%. The teacher takes all of those marks and gives you the class average, and eventually you end up getting a 60. That is what socialism is. Capitalism, pure capitalism, isn't good. It entrenches inequality. And we need a system, and we have a system currently, which takes from the rich to give to the poor, but also and facilitates people and their individual brilliance. So basically, if legislators vote with the president, we have a king. If legislators vote with what the people say that they want, we have mob rule. If legislators vote with the constitution, we have a republic. We can't just change the laws because it's what the people want in the short term, but it will cripple us in the long term. This is what has happened because of the EFF and the failure of the ANC to facilitate land restitution. There's a reason why we have laws. Government must make tough decisions on behalf of its people, like a parent for their children. A parent must not always allow the child to do what they want. They must instill respect, community, and responsibility. But what is happening with our governing parent at the moment? They are spending the money for our future and well-being on their friends, which I can't stand for. So, populism rather than developmentalism is an easy temptation, and this is what's happened. So I can't vote for the ANC because of this, besides the fact they've been proven to be useless because they can't run state-owned enterprises. I wouldn't be too upset if they privatized those companies to an extent. So now let's go to the DA. There's a lot to be said about someone's track record. And they're one of the only parties to be able to have a track record they can show things for. 15 out of the 20 best run municipalities are DA run or with the coalition. And the best run province in South Africa is the Western Cape. You can't argue with that. But what I'm saying is the DA is big, and I don't like big parties. The reason why, there's a lot of people who fall through the cracks because they're too big to see what's happening on the ground. So now let's go big party, small party. DA make sure through every single vote that they're going to go through, they've got at least one person in a meeting representing what your vote, what your view should be. And generally they have 2 people at a meeting. Smaller parties can't afford to have, let's say, people at every meeting. There was a smaller party that didn't attend the budget meeting to vote on what they should do with it. Imagine you vote a party in and they don't go to these important meetings. Your views can't be looked after. However, a smaller party specifically will take care of what you want if they implement it correctly. There's a lot to be said about implementation, which doesn't seem to be happening particularly well. So would I vote for the DA? I'm not sure. Now let's use my metrics to equate different political parties. Okay, so the DA on the environment, apparently they're a little bit better than the ANC. They don't have too much on their manifesto for the 2019 elections. They are strong on their stance on corruption, which I like, and they have strong property rights, which I completely agree with. Then there's COPE. COPE is something that I pretty much paid no attention to before this election. So I read the manifesto, and they are geared towards education for the 21st century, giving people real jobs. They also are they are quite high up on their understanding of sustainability and what climate change really is. They want to retrofit power plants to supply clean energy, which is, I don't know how they'll do that, but that's what they say they want to do. They also want to have a residential solar grid. So therefore, they'll have solar panels in a neighborhood which will be supplying electricity to generally neighborhoods, which is a lot better than having Eskom failing and everybody failing. So the other thing is they are protectionist. They would prefer to use South African suppliers, and this is going to become relevant for the next party that I'm going to describe. They don't mention anything about affirmative action or BEE and what they want to do with taxation. So for me, excuse me for missing that out, but it's not on their manifesto. The next party is a capitalist party of South Africa. They are strong on private property rights, they are strong on education, and they're strong on policing. And the main thing about capitalism is they want free markets. So therefore, that means buying from, in their eyes, it means buying from the most efficient producer. Now, let's use chickens as an example. Now, South Africa, we've gone through a drought, so therefore the cost of grain is more expensive. And so therefore the cost of the productions of chicken, because of the drought, is more expensive. And America can produce chickens at a cheaper price than us. So maybe if the Capitalist Party of South Africa gets in, they will allow America to have access to our markets, or all countries actually, to have access to our markets with no regard for what it will mean for the chicken farmer in South Africa. But efficiency is a very good thing to actually have. The next thing is, which I find very interesting, in their 10 core principles that they have on their website, they want to have a negative tax. So therefore, first off, they want to increase taxes. But what a negative tax rate is this: they want to allow people to create businesses. And now what happens if you can't afford to pay a minimum wage to someone when you create your business? What they, as far as I'm to understand, what they are wanting to do is they are wanting to allow people to hire people, pay them less than the minimum wage, which they've increased, and then government through taxation will cover the shortfall to help that business get along. So there's problems with it, but it's efficient. They don't mention anything to do with the environment, but I'm sure that they must have something there. And they also want to have a small government. So for me, the most interesting manifestos I've read is Congress of the People and the Capitalist Party of South Africa. And the Democratic Alliance is obviously got to do with they've got a track record and they're a big party. So in the end of this, when we reach forever, what do you want the world to look like? And that's what you must vote for on paper. And the sad part is it doesn't necessarily mean that because someone says something on paper, it's going to be actioned. So yeah. Anyway, peace.